Hi, I'm Diane McGarry with Drake at Arts. With me today, our co-host Tom McGarry, painter Matt Patterson, and ASL interpreter Julie. As a child in New Ipswich, New Hampshire, Matt spent his free time fishing, searching for turtles and snakes, or painting. I love the searching for turtles and snakes. As an adult, he has continued merely journeying farther afield for the same goal. Matt says, there is almost no distance I won't go, almost nothing I won't do to learn all I can about my subjects, to make my paintings of wild animals as accurate and lifelike as possible. This includes, for example, traveling by plane and truck a total of 34 hours and over 8,000 miles, all the way to Madagascar's Tortoise Conservation Center. All worth it for the chance to see an endangered tortoise in person, and you can tell from the paintings. An Artists for Conservation member, Patterson has received the Roger Tory Peterson Wild American Art Award twice. He's been featured in Yankee Magazine, Art Connoisseur Magazine, and other publications, and has illustrated two books, The Snake and the Salamander, Reptiles and Amphibians from Maine to Virginia, and Freshwater Fish of the Northeast, which won a National Outdoor Book Award for design and artistic merit. Matt wants not only to document the species he paints, but to contribute to saving them from extinction wherever he can. I think that's really wonderful, Matt.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about the Artists for Conservation?
Yeah. Artists for Conservation is a international group of artists and who use art to spotlight and support conservation and often raise money for conservation, do fundraisers for conservation. But we use our art, our paintings, or our sculptures to highlight different animals that are threatened or endangered.
Cool. Yeah.
So you highlight them by painting them and giving exhibits? Or
There's group exhibits we do. Like I said, it shines a spotlight on certain animals. Often we'll do fundraisers. There's different people in the group who donate part of their proceeds to conservation to support different groups. I've done the Turtle Survival Alliance. I've donated money and paintings to them to raise money for turtles because I'm a turtle artist.
how did you, I mean, as a kid, how did you get into amphibians so much? Was there anything in particular or just down on the
that's a good question. Everyone asks that if there's a moment, because a lot of people have like a specific moment, right, or a specific thing that happened that triggered it. I grew up loving turtles and reptiles and amphibians and all animals as far back as I can remember, since I could talk, probably before. And so I grew up looking for turtles, observing turtles, hatching turtles, and painting. So I've really always loved it. My dad was a biology teacher, and so he was always introducing me to other different types of animals. And well, I'm still doing the same thing now that I was when I was a little kid.
Yeah, that moment when you reach down and pick up a frog or a turtle, just like reach down and find it in the water or in the marsh or whatever, is very precious.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I should say I have two books that came out this year, both the turtle books. And the first one was a picture book, and it was published by HarperCollins, and it was written by Cy Montgomery. And that book celebrates turtles, and it's like I said, it's a picture book, but adults like it as well. And it has all amazing turtle facts and abilities. We have celebrity turtles, and we have extreme turtles. And what's fun about that is everyone recognizes a turtle, right? And most people like turtles, and because they're amazing animals. But there's so many surprises about turtles that we talk about in this book. And there's turtles that climb trees. There's turtles that can sprint 15 miles an hour on land. There's turtles with glow in the dark shells and ones with big googly eyes that can move independently. So they're really amazing.
They are neat. They are neat. And we don't really explore amphibians very much or reptiles. A lot of where I live, people are very concerned about coyotes now. And there's this whole thing about we've taken their territory by building houses and getting rid of wetlands and things like that. So we're trying to conserve them, right? And still allow them to somehow coexist with us. But on the other side, the people say, get the coyote out of here. I don't want it anymore. And
Yeah.
it's finding that balance with turtles and frogs must be difficult too, because you're
Yeah.
relying on wetlands, which people don't really understand the importance of wetlands.
Yeah, wetlands are really important, and reptiles and amphibians. And I guess since I just mentioned the turtle book, especially turtles are really threatened right now by all the usual suspects of habitat loss and the roads and houses and, like you said, wetlands and pollution, climate change, poaching is a really big problem for turtles. So
Poaching turtles?
yeah, yeah, there's a whole illegal trade in turtles, and it started what was called the Asian turtle crisis, and now it's here in North America, and basically turtles are taken from the wild and they're shipped overseas and sold illegally for the pet trade, or sometimes for food or for medicines, which don't really work. So yeah, turtles are in of all the vertebrates, turtles are the most threatened group.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I remember hearing about turtle soup, right? And that we
Yeah,
won't
right. Everyone
have
talks
that
about turtles.
anymore.
Everyone knows I like turtles, and they always say, "You ever tried turtle soup?" I haven't.
No, I would never say that to you.
Yeah.
I
Terrible.
know it's funny though. It seems to be a common question.
That's like saying, uh, it's just eating something that you like is just like wrong. It's like
Yeah,
asking somebody, are you a cannibal because you like people? I mean,
yeah. Well, I know eating a turtle is because they live so long. They can live over 100 years. They're amazing animals. And so eating a turtle, I forgot where I read this, but someone said it equates to burning Renaissance paintings in your fireplace to stay warm.
Oh my gosh. Huh.
yeah, I can see that. What a great analogy.
Yeah. I have another book that I illustrated, and it's another one with Cy Montgomery, and it's called Of Time and Turtles, and that one is a nonfiction narrative, and it actually hit New York Times bestseller the first week out.
Cool.
And that one, we work with a turtle rehab, turtle rescue. We do a whole bunch of like turtle stuff in it. It's a chronicle of Cy and my 3 years immersed in the world of turtles.
Only 3 years immersed. Now, come on, Matt. I know you're going to
Well,
say turtle.
3 years of the book, but my whole life.
That's very neat. So, did you just start with water? Most it's watercolor, right? Did you just start with that?
Acrylic.
Acrylic. Where did you
Mhm.
decide to come to painting of all the different art forms that you could use?
I've always loved to paint. I do sculpting too, but I really love acrylic. I love how you can work with it, how it dries really quickly, and you can take it into the field easily. And I love painting, and I love highlighting the animals that really are important to me.
Mm.
And I'll say too, I think when it comes to illustrating, photography, you can take a snapshot of a moment and you can compose a photograph to a point, right? But where illustration, it's more than that. You're adding in, your experiences in the field or something you saw or colors you saw that may not be captured by the photograph. And so you can incorporate all that feeling and emotion and experience into a painting. So I really think painting is really important for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I know a lot of artists actually who use photographs to see underneath something, like to take the underside of a rock on the ocean to get all the barnacles and the creatures that are there, and then they paint them much bigger than that they've seen. But there's a difference in your work. There's a huge difference.
Thanks. Well, a lot of the paintings, if you go on my website and the ones you see, a lot of them are animals I've seen and places I've been. So like the Book of Turtles, it's a picture book and there's a lot of illustrations in it, and not all of them, but most of them are turtles I know, individuals. Well, either I've seen them in the field, out in Madagascar, or I was in Belize this past summer, or they're turtles I know in captivity. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you name your turtles?
Well, I have 14 turtles. Um, One of them I've had for over 27 years. I
At
do
your
name them.
home, you have that many?
Yeah, I have 14. When I started these books 3 years ago, I had three turtles.
Huh.
And so it's grown a little bit. A lot of them most of them are rescues. They came from rescues, so they're turtles that can't be released. They're non-native or they were given up, and so yeah, I have 14 of them now. My wife is thrilled, as you can imagine.
Do you need a special license or anything to have turtles?
Not many turtles. I do have permits for some turtles. I do
Oh,
have a non-native. I do have a native turtle who's a snapping turtle, but he was hit by a car.
oh,
He's a big character in one of the books. He's actually in both books, and I'm actually working on a new book right now about him. But
Is he the one that has the patches on his shell?
his the what?
The patches to hold his shell together?
He had braces on his shell at one point. He's not releasable because his spine was damaged, so he couldn't use his back legs and his tail for a long time. Now he
oh,
can, but he's not good enough to release. So I made him a pond in our backyard, and he lives in there
oh.
in the summer and spring and fall, and then he's inside in the winter. So I had a permit to transport him for that, but yeah, some turtles you do need permits to work with out in the wild.
Do turtles hibernate? I know some snakes hibernate in the bottom of ponds and streams. Do turtles do that?
They do. It's called brewmate, and it's basically a turtle's version of hibernation, and it's really amazing. They stay. Some of them are still active in the winter under the ice,
Oh,
and they actually don't need to breathe air when they're under the water. They actually, this is whenever we whenever we talk to kids in schools and stuff, they love this fact. The turtles actually breathe out of their butt. It's called cloacal respiration, and they can absorb oxygen through blood vessels. So, yeah,
huh,
they do hibernate. Yeah, just like snakes do.
huh.
That's
Yep.
neat.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
We have a fish pond in our backyard, but we don't have turtles in it. We have a lot of frogs that come to visit, different types of frogs.
Yeah, yeah, I love the springtime when the frogs are out.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like peepers.
Yeah, the first sign of spring for me.
Oh yeah. What a wonderful chorus.
Yeah,
So here are some of your wonderful works with your books.
yeah. The top two there are the left one is a radiated tortoise, and the right one is a spider tortoise, and those are tortoises that I saw in the wild in Madagascar when
Oh,
I was.
wow.
And so I was in the spiny forest. I was out really remote area for 3 weeks. I was surveying turtles. Madagascar, getting there, like you had mentioned in the intro, it was a long trip, and then once I got there, I had to like drive. They call them roads. They weren't roads; they were dirt tracks out in the middle of nowhere into the spiny forest. That took about 8 hours, and then from the Turtle Conservation Center, I headed even deeper into the field, and we surveyed turtles and spiny forest. Everything has spines. The heat was like nothing I'd experienced. I lived in this little tiny tent. It was more like a coffin. Felt like it was over 100 degrees every night. But there were animals everywhere. There were lemurs. There were snakes. There were tortoises. The insects were so loud. And I was there in the rainy season, and so I got to see like plants, green and in bloom. And so all those plants and those illustrations are plants I saw. It's all based off that experience.
Oh,
Wow. And here's, yeah, I love how alive your surroundings look with the animals. It's not just the animals, you really have them alive here.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'll say that there's another little story to. So a lot of my paintings, like I said, there's a lot of experiences in them. And the one on the right, that's a bog turtle. It's endangered here in North America. It's really rare. It's heavily poached, and it also habitat loss is a huge problem for it. But I got to see my first one. They're really tiny. They're really hard to see in the wild. And I was with New York Fish and Game, and we were radio tracking them. And so where we went out, it was really hard to get to, which is good for the turtles. And it was really boggy. It was really swampy. There's lots of poison sumac and and sometimes yellow jacket nests. And there were pitcher plants, a lot of pitcher plants, like in that illustration. And where we found the first one, There was 3 of them in this site, but they're so hard to find. Even though they were radio tracked, we only found 1. But there was a jawbone of a deer right nearby. So that was a weird little scene I saw, and I really wanted to paint it. So that's what that's based off of.
Yeah, that's neat. And here are some more.
Yeah, these 2 are the 2 color illustrations from Of Time and Turtles. It's a nesting painted turtle and a wood turtle. And so that, like I said, that story, me and Cy, we worked with a nest protection group where we protected nests of 5 different species in a secret location. And this retired school teacher and a part-time librarian have been leading a team of volunteers for over 15 years protecting those nests. And they protected hundreds of nests and thousands of baby turtles. And we also worked with the Turtle Rescue League, which is a big part of the story. So they do a lot of rescues with turtles that are hit by cars. So in this basement of these 2 ladies, Southbridge, Mass, there's anywhere between 250 and 1,000 turtles, depending on the time of year.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so we got to work with them. We got to repair turtles. We got to return turtles to the wild, and that's how we met. The big snapping turtle I was talking about. His name's Fire Chief because he lived behind a fire pond. So we did that. We worked with the Turtle Survival Alliance, and we went to their center where they have some of the rarest turtles in the world in insurance colonies. They're trying to breed them to eventually reintroduce them to the wild. They have turtles that are extinct in the wild. So we got to do a lot of amazing things, a lot of amazing experiences with these books.
So how do you protect nests besides keeping them secret so people don't mess them up?
Yeah, we got to keep them secret because, like I said, turtles are poached. But we protect. We put these coverings over them, like a screen covering, so that predators can't dig them up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then throughout the summer, we have to check on them and water and make sure they don't dry up. And then once it's hatching season, you have to have volunteers, several times a day go around and check the nests and make sure there's, if there's any hatchlings, you collect them and you carry them down to the water. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. It's really rewarding. And like I said, they've been doing this for 15 years, so they've protected a lot of turtles.
Well, good for them. Wow.
Yeah.
So this is a dumb question, but I don't know the answer. Besides the beauty and the diversity, what is the importance of a turtle?
Yeah, well, it's not a dumb question. Turtles are actually really, really important. Turtles have been around for over 200 million years. Well, in the book we talk about at the end, there's a lot of ancient stories that talk about, like creation stories that talk about the world being on the back of a turtle.
Okay.
And it's actually true because turtles really are like the foundation to many ecosystems. There's keystone species like the gopher tortoise, where over 360 other species of animals completely rely on them to survive.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of sea turtles that eat sponges that keep coral reefs protected. There's ones that eat jellyfish that help overpopulation. There are turtles who are seed dispersers, and there's a certain plant like here in New England, I can't think of the name of it, but the eastern box turtle is the only seed disperser of that. And then if you think all these eggs that are predated upon, because over 90% are, and then even the hatchlings is the same thing, all that energy goes back into that specific system, and so all those animals rely on that source. So they're really important. And snapping turtles, people are afraid of snapping turtles, but snapping turtles are like vultures of ponds where they eat dead things. So they really help keep ponds and rivers and lakes, and streams healthy and clean.
Yeah,
So they are important.
I knew they were. I just didn't know how they contributed, I mean, it's not one of those things that they taught me in grammar school. Let's put it.
No, I know. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm hoping. These books will shine a light on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been out paddling and there have been snapping turtles around, and I've heard that if you're there, sometimes they could snap off your paddle if they consider that you're an aggressor. But
yeah, they get a bad rap, but they wouldn't do that. They're really shy in the wild, and they only snap if you're trying to help one across the road and it feels threatened, it doesn't know you're trying to help, it will snap. But they're actually not even as powerful as people think. Like a dog can bite harder, or a person can bite harder than a snapping turtle.
Whoa.
Yeah. I always hear the stories of people saying that one bit them when they were swimming, but I mean, it doesn't happen. I mean, if it did, our news every night would be, you know, another snapping turtle attack.
Mm.
So they're not as scary as they look.
Snap attacks.
Yeah.
Is there a place you would like to go next to see the turtles of, you know, whatever region that might be?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd love to go to Galapagos,
Ah,
or the Amazon. That would be really great. I was in, like I briefly mentioned, I was in Belize this July, and I was doing a turtle survey in the rainforest,
mm,
and we were trapping turtles and tagging them, pit tagging them. It's a long-term study,
mm,
and that was really amazing. You know, the jungle we were out in the jungle in the rainforest and pretty far out,
mm.
and there's hollow monkeys, and there was, you know, incredible snakes around, and insects, and turtles, and birds, and I even brought home some parasites. So
Uh-oh.
that was that was a pretty wild trip.
Mm.
So I'm going to do a bunch of paintings based on that trip. I haven't yet started, but I all my sketches and reference together.
Neat.
Do you rely on photographs at all to remember things, or is it primarily sketches?
No, it's both. What I do is I take a lot of different photographs of plant
Mm,
reference of the animal.
mm.
I'll take a lot of different angles. So if it's a turtle, different angles of the head, the legs in different positions, and I'll do sketches and notes. And then when I get back to the studio, I'll kind of put all that together and come up with something, compose a composition.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have this really nice um display of different heads here. I really love
Huh.
seeing all the different heads.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. The top two are turtles around here, and the bottom left is as well. The top left is a wood turtle, and I don't think it's endangered in Massachusetts, but I mean it should be. It's certainly trending that way, and it's threatened. And then there's a painted turtle, which is a turtle that most people see around the summer. You see it crossing the road. That's the one you see, you know, on logs mostly. And then the left one is a spotted turtle.
I hate to say, when I was little, painted turtles were sold.
Were they?
And there was yeah, well, I'm an old lady now, but you got this little plastic,
Oh, with the little palm tree, right?
yes, that
Yeah,
they
with the
put up.
ramp.
Yeah, yeah. Those are actually those were red-eared sliders, and from a certain age back, it seems like I think everybody must have had one, right?
Mm,
Everyone has a story about one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I had my kids, I mean, I wasn't really looking for turtles, but we would go to different wildlife classes, and people were like, "Oh, be careful of the salmonella on the turtles." Is that really a huge problem?
It's not really a huge problem. They can have it on their water turtles can have it on the shells. Just if you had a pet turtle, if you keep it clean, you know, probably won't happen. And if you just wash your hands, you'll be good. They actually would. This is interesting thing. They were the little ones you were talking about, the little tiny ones. That size was banned, so you can't sell hatchlings because it was the size that fit inside a child's mouth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so actually it
Of
wasn't for
course.
the turtles, it was for the
Oh,
kids that they made that rule.
wow.
And that's
Yeah.
probably why they got all upset about salmonella, because kids were licking them or something.
Yeah, I know, they'll
Yeah.
do it, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Oh gosh, my kids used to kiss them. They'd find a
Yeah.
turtle or a frog, and none of them turned into princes or princesses, but
Yeah.
But you can hope.
it was just, I mean, they kissed their dogs. They kissed anything.
Yeah, I do that. Still do that.
Got to build up the immune system somehow.
Yeah, right? You get your microbiome.
Yes.
We'll get in trouble for this. No, I can see
Yeah,
what's going on.
don't do that.
Oh goodness. I love that you do this. It's very exciting.
Mm.
Thanks. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself, I don't know, primarily an illustrator or a sculptor or an author, or is that even the wrong question to
I'd
ask?
say wildlife artist slash illustrator. I do a lot of illustration, wildlife. Right now, I'm doing another book.
Yeah.
Like I said, these two books just came out this past year. I can show it to you. Here's a picture This
Oh, I
one,
love that book.
what's that?
I said, I love that book.
And then this one, the Book of Turtles. And so I do like sculpting. I do paper sculptures and of moths and birds, but I do mostly painting and illustration. And so I have another book right now. I'm starting to illustrate. It's a book on Fire Chief, the snapping turtle, and so that will be out in a couple of years. But it'll be a long project to illustrate. So that will be what I'm doing mostly for the next, I don't know, winter into the spring.
I actually was
Yeah.
going to ask if you considered yourself a scientist, because a lot of the ways you depict the turtles and the information you find out is very important scientific work.
Yeah, I'd say naturalist. Yeah, I mean, I love getting into the field and seeing, seeing it's good to see these things in person. That's a big part of my process is to whenever I can. I can't always do that, but whenever I can, to see animals, in the wild or in person.
Right, because then you can see how they move and how they
Yeah, how they behave and how they act around each other or in their environment, and it's really important.
It is. That's really neat. And it sounds almost like turtles picked you more than you picked turtles.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I guess I was just born loving turtles for some reason. I'm attracted to them. I think they're amazing animals. I mean, they've been around for over 200 million years. They survived the asteroid. They've survived ice ages. So they come in all shapes and sizes and almost every continent except Antarctica.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was silly. Huh. Well, thank you so much for coming to speak with us today, Matt. This has really
Yeah.
been fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me.
To see more of Mark's works, and please join us for our art gallery during our March Art Saturday. You can register on Eventbrite. You can also purchase his books on our online bookstore. And we'd like to thank our many generous donors for making these programs possible. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do any of these programs. Please consider being a sponsor yourself. Just email us at drakeetarts@gmail.com or go to our website, drakeetarts.com/donate/. For more information about our Arts Saturdays and our other programs, please go to our website. That's drakeetarts@gmail.com.
No, that's our email, right?
Oh, goodness, I'm sorry.
Drakeetarts.com.
Email at that or go to drakeetarts.com. This and all of our programs are archived on Drake It Arts YouTube channel, youtube.com/@drakeetarts. Thank you so much.